question I saw yesterday, you sent out a few questions. I look at quickly, and then, but to be honest, you see, I have not really, prepare any specific question. So I was thinking that maybe just, you see, I will give you, any particular point, or let's say that any information that you are looking for as we go along. Let's say that, during our conversation. So I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can go ahead and start with the questions we sent you, and then if we want more insight or want to delve into it, we can definitely keep asking more questions that we want more detail from. So, um, if anything, we'll start with the first question. What do you think are the strongest assets of the target population you service in Myanmar?
Hmm. So, really good question. When you say the target population, are you referring to those, let's say that uh, the ultimate beneficiaries, or do you referring to those any type of people or institution that we work with? Yeah, maybe this will be, let's say that, a bit helpful to me, so that, because as I say, you see, that target population that we work, let's say that with, for instance, that could be, how to say that, that the institution level, and then as well as the government and line ministry as well, beside to the ultimate beneficiaries, which we are talking about general population of Myanmar.
Oh, okay. So I apologize. Maybe it would be easier to take a step backwards so we can go more into detail about that first question. And I should have asked it sooner. But how have you been involved with UNCDF, and also for how
You're
long?
breaking up. I don't know if it just happened to me, and then other colleagues also can hear.
Oh, maybe we can begin with just. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I lost. A few lines. The last few seconds. Can you repeat, Megan?
How about now? Is that better?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, now I can hear you. Can you repeat?
Okay.
The last few seconds. Yeah, I lost. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can. I'll definitely go into detail about that. I'm sorry. I think it would have been better if I took a step backwards and asked you first how you've been involved with the UNCDF, and also for how long.
Okay, so I've been with UNCDF in Myanmar now 6 years. Yeah.
I think you. Okay.
Hello.
Oh yes, you're back.
Yes,
Sorry.
I have been with UNCDF since 2016 June. So I think around 6 years, yeah, 6+ years.
Okay, and which programs are you currently working on?
So as I said, I don't have specific project, or let's say that, activity here within UNCDF Myanmar, and I oversee all different projects here within UNCDF Myanmar as a national officer. But there is one specific project that I also, or how to say that, serve as a project manager, which called Leaving No One Behind project, that we work with 11 microfinance institutions for their transformation, and then for the expansion of financial services to those underserved or unbanked population.
Okay, thank you. That gives a lot of helpful context. So, in relation to that, I'll go back to that question I originally asked on, like, what do you think are the strongest assets of the target population you service in Myanmar? And when I mean target population, I mean like the general population of Myanmar first, because I know that's a broad statement to begin with.
So when general target population, so I would say that, there is our beneficiaries here, and then that people from the, let's say that, could be from rural, urban, I think they are how to the strength or stronger asset is I would say that willingness. You see, I mean to cooperate, to work together with how to say that I mean different actors, and then so I mean in this case to work with UNCDF, and also the second one I would say they're really hard working people. You see, I mean they never say that I mean no, their readiness there and then willingness there. These are the two how to say that assets that I would say that I mean they are strong assets, willingness and hardworking people.
Oh, thank you. That's actually really nice to know. Very similar, but also, what do you think are the strongest assets then, or key strengths when it comes to the women you serve in Myanmar?
Yeah, I mean, maybe another one when we talk about how to say that the weaknesses, I would say that the time also, when I say the time and the women are really busy, even they are, let's say, busier than their head of household, I mean, with more, I mean, busier than the other men, yeah, I mean, in their community, in their household. So, I mean, the time is really kind of, let's say, that one of the constraints that to allow women to engage. The second one would be that, I mean, they always feel that maybe that is because of the culture norm, yeah? I mean, they always tend to put, let's say that, I mean, their husband, the head of the household, let's say that when it comes to any initiative, any discussions, any kind of, how to say it, I mean, decision-making process, rather than, even though they would be there, let's say that when you have meeting with them, you have the discussion, you got a really nice idea from them, and then you can see that they really want to engage. But at the end, you see most of the time, oh, I need to go back and then discuss with my husband, yeah, I mean, how we can do, and then what we can do, etc.
Is this both for the urban and rural areas of Myanmar?
Okay, I did more for rural areas, and then but for urban also, let's say, kind of to some extent, but I mean they are better off compared to rural women, yeah, because let's say here in urban area, women are also let's say that I mean quite a lot. I mean they are educated, and then they have the I mean certain level of this how to say that empowerment that allow them to make decisions, yeah, and also a kind of how to say that I mean bargaining or negotiation power with their husband compared to those in the rural area. Rural area women are less educated together with the culture norm. Yeah, I mean put them a kind of let's say that, I mean really weak position when it's come to the let's say that I mean any activities that we initiate or something that they need to do. Yeah, they always like ask their husband or let's say only permission from their husband, and then they will take this kind of decision or let's say engagement.
No, thank you very much. It's interesting to see that side. I know there's like a little bit of I know there's a difference in terms of education for the rural and urban side. So hearing how it actually comes into play, that's very helpful. But what I also wanted to know as well, in terms not just the constraints, but what else do you think are the assets and also the strengths of the women you serve?
Again, can you repeat the question, Megan?
Oh yeah, so I asked what the strongest assets or positive traits of the target population you serve. What do you think are the positive traits or strengths of the women you serve specifically? And we could take time to just sit here and think about it as well, because it was something we were very interested in learning.
When you say that, let's say, I mean, positive, let's say, the asset, are you talking from the perspective of, let's say, I mean, general woman or any woman, let's say, that from the, how to say that, I mean, from the economic or social or or any specific, I mean, point of view, from any specific point of view? Are you referring, I mean, let's say that what kind of access from the economics or business activities perspective?
Specifically, it would be nice to know possibly both from a social perspective and also from the economic side. But it could also be um, your personal experience of what it was like working with women in Myanmar, because
Mm,
it's difficult to grasp like the firsthand experience to begin with of who they are. So it could be
mm,
just what stands out to you.
mm. Yeah, I mean, one particular thing, I mean, talking about women here in Myanmar, as I said, you see, even though they are not, how to say that, I mean, very often not a decision-making person, but when it's come to the actual, let's say, that, I mean, work or something that they need to implement, do something within their family household, I mean, most of the tasks, let's say household tasks or let's say small-scale activities or livelihood activities, those are being taken care by women than the men. Yeah, yeah. I mean, within their household, within their family, as well as let's say a broader community in their particular community. So I would say that I mean, women are really kind of very active, and then when it comes to the social economy and any activities, religious activities, engagement, yeah. So these are the really positive thing that women is there, and then as long as you can empower and then turn their negative or weaknesses into a more, let's say, positive way, a kind of empowered, if a kind of we can empower them, yeah, I think that totally we change, let's say, that the way that that they have been, how to say that, traditionally also and engaging or doing business, yeah, within their family as well as within their community. So I would say that I mean that is a kind of, I mean, something that we need to turn from their weaknesses to positive. The positive thing, as I mentioned, they are the most, let's say, the busiest people within their household and then within their community, and then not only their households, but a kind of, let's say, I mean, livelihoods and then small scale activities. When I say livelihoods, let's say that I mean many rural women, they most of the families, they have that, let's say that I mean their family owns a kind of backyard gardens or livestock raisins, yeah, that give them income, yeah. So all these kind of activities are taken care by the woman. So if we can empower them, it's kind of, let's say that, to the level of, let's say, the where they can do better in terms of education, internal knowledge, internal decision making process. I think that will change, let's say, the, I mean, woman role here in Myanmar.
Thank you. I feel like we already talked a little bit already about the constraints that women face in Myanmar, but do you think there are any other issues that you're concerned about when it comes to economic empowerment for women in Myanmar?
Mm. Yeah, particularly here, when I look at not only rural, yeah, I mean, live in rural, but even here, urban area, yeah, you have the small vendors, and then here, street vendors, yeah, particularly, I mean, managed by women, yeah, women vendors, you can see a lot, I mean, those who are selling groceries, and then any kind of, let's say, that, I mean, goods and commodities, yeah. Those are, I mean, managed and run by women. But if we can turn this kind of, how to say that, I mean, small or livelihood activities into a more formal one, I think women will have a better chance, better opportunity. Right now, I mean, the activities, the economic activities that managed by women is can be considered a kind of, how to say that, informal businesses, yeah, because they are not registered. Okay, so there is already a kind of, how to say that, make you a kind of, I mean, constrain your ability to go and then get any a loan and credit provided by financial institutions and then as well as by the government. Yeah, since you don't have any legal form of let's say register. So there is something that if we can turn or somehow register, I mean somehow a kind of let's say that I mean between it is not cannot be done let's say the very formal part of the registration, but let's say the kind of area based you see within specific community or market if they can recognize and then as if they can be recognized and then their recognition can be used for I mean to access to loan and credit. I think that would be really how to say good and then a lot of how to say the economic empowerment for women. Yeah.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
And another point related to this, I mentioned that from the rural, no, from the urban, and then from the rural also, as I mentioned, many households, and then particularly women, they look after all their, let's say, their livelihood when it comes to the agriculture, family based agriculture or livestock activities, yeah, that's taken care or run by women. And then if we can link somehow to the market, yeah, and then I mean that will be also really how to say that how to say I mean that will change a lot the way that they do business, yeah, from traditional way to how let's say that I mean link to the market through the value chain process. This kind of thing will be really empower women also. When I say empower, let's say that the more that they link and then the more that they make money, I think that automatically also give them a kind of let's say that more decision making. How to say that? I mean, level of authority. Yeah.
Thank you. I actually want to go deeper into this and ask more about the constraints or challenges they face when it comes to digital financial inclusion now. And we define that as using the technology to reach the financially excluded or also the underserved populations, especially when it comes to financial services. So, when it comes to that, what do you think the issues are and what you're concerned when it comes to um, digital financial inclusion and economic empowerment for women in Myanmar?
Mm. Yeah, I think economics activity is there, yeah, and then as I said, we can empower them, let's say that by providing more access to market, and then also a kind of how to say they strengthen their business or let's say their livelihood activities through the vocational training or the I mean value chain process, yeah. And then, but talking about the digital financial inclusion, I think maybe education is one of the key constraints for them. Although many women, many people here in Myanmar, let's say they use smartphone, but mainly they use smartphone for Facebook, for social media activities, yeah, which is a kind of can be considered less handful or I mean safe, yeah, compared to let's say that I mean dealing directly with money and then making your own transaction, yeah. When it comes to that point, I think there are a lot of how to say the educational financial education need to be how to say that I mean need to be considered here in rural area and then as well as here I mean urban area, but more for rural women. They don't have this kind of digital financial literacy knowledge, okay, that allow them, let's say, that to utilize the digital, which is in their hands, yeah. I mean, to be fully utilized, and then which to create how to say that a meaningful and then positive impact for their life, yeah, for their family. I think we need that digital literacy activities to be implemented for women.
If I can ask also, how does Does the political climate right now in Myanmar impact this even more?
Yeah, I think that's really good question. Maybe right now, we can really just say that, I mean, empowerment, or let's say that how we can make sure that women has ability to access and then to be able to do and then utilize the platform that, or platform or tools that they have in their hands. Yeah, I think that is now for all Myanmar people, general people. Yeah, I mean, when it's come to the access to media, access to internet, become very critical. Yeah, and then the very recent that cybersecurity law, which is still in draft. Yeah, I mean that government proposed, I think in January. Yeah, the de facto authority proposed, which kind of carry like up to 3 years for punishment. Let's say that, I mean, to a prison, and then I think 3,000 US dollar fine. Yeah, if you use that VPN, you see, I
Really?
mean, so yeah, even because they see that, I mean, through VPN, people able to somehow access to many forms of, let's say, that, I mean, different information platform in order to control the flow of information. That is what the current de facto authority has imposed, yeah, through the cybersecurity law. But again, right now, I mean, that is still in draft, yeah, it has not been enacted yet. But anyhow, people of Myanmar already fear the impact effect of this draft law, yeah, that that kind of allow the security forces to stop people and then to search and then to look at their phone whether you have VPN installed or not. Yeah, if you have VPN installed, let's say that you can easily, let's say that, I mean, be threatened or arrested, or let's say that in order, let's say to not happen, or let's say that you have to pay, or let's say that, I mean, bribe, or they will ask you, yeah, I mean, certain amount. Yeah, I mean, only then, how to say that, I mean, you will let it go. So I mean, this kind of the current political situation becoming more and more, how to say that, I mean, scrutinized and then constrain not only the flow of information, and as well as the flow of money, and then other form of, let's say that, I mean, digital information. So I think maybe right now, if you talk about, let's say, digital financial literacy or any activities, and then you wouldn't go and then carry out this kind of training activities in any particular, how to say that, community, because the fear is there, and then if you're there, and then you could be detained or arrested by security forces, I mean, without reason or with reason. Yeah, so I mean, that is not the time that, I mean, that under this current political situation, even though there are something that really good, or things that, I mean, can be done without any political associate to the to the political, how to say that, issue, that's still, let's say that, I mean, threat. Yeah, and then for you, so that is really difficult for now. And then just one example. Now I'm talking about the microfinance institutions. They have loan officers going to the community and then to their clients, provide services, disbursement or collection, repayment. Yeah, and then that also have been, like, I mean, constrained. And then many areas they cannot really go and then, let's say, talk to their clients. And then when they go, and then they also have to careful that, let's say, there is they security forces around, or let's say that, I mean, and then they can be stopped and then asked or checked. Yeah, so that could be also, let's say that, I mean, how to say that, I mean, security issue for you, personal level security issue, and then as well as when you carry money around per your collection, that also could be another threat. Let's say you never know that what happened. Let's say, I mean, someone can stop you and then take away all your money. So I mean, these are the very basic, let's say that, I mean, security issue or threats. I mean, there are many, I mean, all people here in Myanmar face, I mean, nowadays.
And you also brushed up on the microfinance institutions and just the businesses in general that's occurring right now. How about for COVID-19? How has that been impacting everything? And also for like a digital perspective.
Yeah, COVID-19. Yeah, I mean, Of course, I mean, before the coup, yeah, I mean, COVID-19 has a lot of, how to say that, negative impact let's say that, I mean, livelihood of all people here in Myanmar. And then, but we were somehow able to overcome. And then, because there were a lot of, let's say, that relief or humanitarian support and assistance. And then, as well as, you see, I mean, before the coup, the previous government also injected, let's say, that quite a lot of capital into the microfinance sector, yeah, through microfinance institutions, I mean, to their clients, yeah. For instance, let's say that with 1% loan, yeah, that allow microfinance institution to be able to lend, let's say, I mean, lend out to their clients, yeah, and then that particularly aimed for the small restaurants and tea coffee shops. This kind of, let's say, I mean, as MSME activities, yeah, to empower them, let's say, I mean, to build their resilience. But anyhow, let's say that after coup came in, yeah, I mean, this kind of activity has been stopped, and then also again, the whole, how to say that, landscape has changed. Yeah, before with COVID, I mean, still there are a lot of development, how to say that, development organizations and then humanitarian organizations, they still can provide support. Yeah, but with coup, yeah, I mean, that's a kind of, I mean, more, or let's say less, or let's say no more support or activities going to the communities because of the security, because of the scrutiny, because of the threat, and then everything. Yeah.
Thank you. Knowing what's like for COVID-19 before and after the coup, that was something we weren't too particularly sure about because it's difficult to find research on that, especially online, for example. So, when it comes to UNCDF, actually, what are they currently doing right now when it comes to digital financial inclusion, and where do they want to go with that, like their ultimate goals?
You mean they, mean that you're referring to the federal authorities, or let's say, I mean, UNCDF, or
The UNCDF and the programs they're implementing there right now, or the projects. What are they doing specifically for digital financial inclusion?
yeah. So I mean, that's a really good point. Before the coup, yeah, I mean, we UNCDF have been implementing one project called Financial Inclusion Roadmap Project. So together with the how to the two particular ministries. So one
Sorry, what is it
Central
called?
Bank of Myanmar and Central Bank of Myanmar. So two ministries, yeah, we have been implementing Financial Inclusion Roadmap.
Okay.
Together with government of Myanmar, line ministry. One is Central Bank of Myanmar, another one is the Ministry of Finance here in Myanmar. So we developed the financial inclusion roadmap together with the other, let's say, the interministry level that would guide Myanmar to go, let's say, to the level of let's say, the inclusiveness when it's come to the financial and then digital. Under that, we have that one particular, how to say that, area that we call digital financial services, and then that linked to the government's digital economy, how to say, roadmap. Yeah. So I mean, from 2029, no, 2019 to 2023, yeah. I mean, the roadmap was, let's say, the outline. What are we going to do? How are we going to do? And then within that 5 years. But anyhow, let's say that, I mean, after the coup, and then we stopped, I mean, suspended all our activities, engagement with the government. And then we have to find a way that how we are going to carry on, let's say, our digital and financial inclusion activities. So we have been refocused and then shift our focus and then work more closely with private sector and the microfinance institution. When we say private sector, and then that also includes banks, non-bank financial institutions, and then other development financial institutions, and then and also microfinance institution, yeah, try to establish here that digital ecosystem, let's say that digital payment ecosystem here allow different service provider to come together and then connected in a platform that allow, let's say, a kind of interoperable payment system here in country. So this has been the, I mean, we have been implementing this one, and then we have, I mean, over the course of time, we have made, I mean, good progress. So good progress, but we still cannot, how to say that, do kind of live transaction yet for now, but we are almost there, and then we hope that we'll be able to do it in coming months, in June, July. I mean, that live transaction. So there is that, I mean, digital payment ecosystem. We have been building this one and then doing the advocating among the different players here in Myanmar, and then as well as, I mean, supporting them in terms of technological support, and then how to say that, boarding process. That means that, let's say, those who are willing to be part of this, and then we kind of build up their knowledge, and then assess their system, and then be readiness once they are ready to integrate into the system. So this kind of, let's say, that, I mean, payment platform ecosystems has been initiated by UNCDF, and then right now we have, I mean, like 30 plus financial service providers, and also other development and humanitarian actors like UNICEF, WFP, also, let's say, I mean, being part of this, particularly for them to utilize the platform when it's come to the ECT, electronic cash transfer, yeah, for their beneficiaries in those remote areas. So there is the area that UNCDF have been leading here within the industry here in Myanmar. And then on the other hand, also we have been working very closely through one of the projects that we call Leaving No One Behind project here, to support microfinance institution in their expansion of financial services in those remote areas and then conflict affected areas, and also try to help them. I mean, just a little bit of background here in Myanmar. Until recently, 2011, there is no, like, I mean, microfinance institution. All microfinance institution kind of has been used to operate under the INGO or NGO, and then government enacted microfinance institution law in 2011, and then they kind of, let's say, they have to apply for the license, and then there are quite a few still remain, let's say, they're under the NGO. So we have been supporting them to transform their, let's say, their operations and then business, and then as well as, how to say that, I mean, from the legal perspective, yeah, transforming from the NGO to the company, and then allow them, let's say, that to be able to, how to say that, by building up their capacity, and then also having through UNCDF loan, yeah, and loan, and to build their credit record to allow them to be able to crowd in more, how to say that, debt or equities finance from domestic and as well as from the abroad, yeah. So this is one of the projects that UNCDF have been working directly with different microfinance institutions to help them, as I just mentioned, that, I mean, build up their capacity, credit record, and then so that, I mean, they will have that record, and then they can borrow access to finance here from the banks, commercial banks, or, let's say, from the international investor. And then another one is the digital payment ecosystem that UNCDF is leading now here in Myanmar. So these are the two, how to say that, project focusing on the digital, and then as well as financial service provider, to expand financial service provider into those underserved areas.
Just to confirm, what does SYS stand for?
SYS. Can you
SYS.
S Y and S. I don't know. Yeah, I mean this one.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I couldn't hear properly. But I just have one more question, especially since we should be wrapping up soon. And it's just if you had a magic wand, what are the top initiatives you would like to implement that would benefit the women in Myanmar in the next 30 years?
Mm, I think, yeah, what I would like to do, and then what would be good to do, let's say that, I mean, to make sure that, I mean, people are able to use, let's say, the technology which is available and then which is in their hands. I think if we can somehow, let's say, that introduce the financial and digital literacy, how to say, the activities or session, part of the education system, that will be, let's say, the one of the, how to say that, I mean, desire or something that, let's say, that I would do. Because right now, when you look at the school curriculum here, let's say secondary, and then as well as, let's say, the higher education, you don't really have that financial literacy educations, yeah, financial literacy activities as part of the, let's say, the school curriculum. So I think that would be really critical and then very fundamental, how to say, the foundation. If we can introduce this digital and financial literacy curriculum as part of the school curriculum here, I mean, to the, I, I would say that, I mean, basic education, yeah, the second, starting from secondary.
Oh, okay, so from secondary education.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to discuss that we didn't cover?
No, I think nothing from my side. Unless you have
Okay.
any further question.
No, we'll go ahead and wrap it up, especially since it's almost about to be 45 minutes. So we don't want to take up too much of your time, but we actually just learned a lot about what's happening there and also the challenges that you're facing. If there's any other aspects of your work that you would feel that you would want to share, such as maybe documents, is that okay if I reach out to you?
Yes, I can share. Yeah, maybe let's say the financial inclusion roadmap, and let's say that which also include, let's say that is the roadmap, and then also there is the government roadmap. Yeah, although UNCDF we the one that who support government, but I mean that became endorsed by the government. So that would be really good, I think, for you to see, because in that also digital financial services also included, yeah, and also that also align with the regional financial inclusion as well. So maybe that is something that, I mean, will be helpful for you.
Okay. Yeah, so we actually looked a little bit into and read into the digital financial inclusion roadmap, but we're not too familiar on the government roadmap, so that would be very helpful.
Okay, okay, yeah, I can share that with you. Yeah.
Okay, well, that is it, William. Thank you so much for making time to answer my questions. Sorry if I was a little unclear in the beginning.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I mean, thank you. Sorry, actually, I mean, yesterday, I just got my booster dose, and then I feel like, I mean, kind of, let's say that, I mean, a little bit, how to say that, I mean, not 100% up, yeah, today. So sorry for that, yeah, if I missed anything, and then if I didn't get right, I mean, to your questions. But anyhow, if you have any questions, you can clarify by email, and then any document that you think will be helpful. Also, you can ask, and then, but as I said, I'm going to send to you maybe one or two documents that I think will be helpful for you.
Okay, no, that would be great, and I hope you feel better. You answered all our questions perfectly, so there's no worries at all. So thank you again, William. Have a nice
Yeah,
day.
thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck
Yeah,
with the
thank
study.
you.
Thank you.
you. Have a good day. Bye.
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 Okay. How was that for you?
I think that went well. I think I just have like a couple of words that I just really didn't understand like very well, but just a couple of words. I mean, I can like go through the recording again and find out what that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the recording still recording?
I think no, I just turned off. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I saved to the cloud recordings and I can share it after I got the email.
Okay. Yeah, it was hard to start in the beginning. but-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to start the interview.
Especially because he started asking us questions.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, I'm not ready.
Yeah, didn't expect that.
That's okay. We'll be ready next time.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm trying to think. I couldn't catch what SYS was, and I didn't want to keep asking him.
Yeah, I think we can find out that later. SYS Myanmar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it sounded important, and then he
Yeah.
sounded like I should already know what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I don't really know what that is. It should be like some kind of like abbreviation for something, but I just don't know what that is.
Okay.
Yeah, but we can like, I mean, I can like re-listening the recording and maybe it's not, it's like some other words.
Okay.